As the world becomes more and more advanced, it seems like we're also becoming less active. The CDC reports that even before the pandemic, less than 24% of children between the ages of 6 and 17 were physically active for only 60 minutes a day. Additionally, the World Health Organization says that 25% of adults and 81% of adolescents are also not getting enough physical activity either. That's why on this edition of Startups with Sanaz, we're speaking with a startup called NEX, that's spelled NEX, that's created an active arcade to help you have fun playing a game that uses just your body and no expensive equipment. Joining us now is NEX co-founder and CEO David Lee. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to us a little bit about what NEX is. When I think of active arcade, I think of the Wii console that comes to mind. There's obviously so many other ones that come to mind. Talk to us about what NEX is and how it's different from the other quote unquote active arcades that are in the market.
Sure. NEX is a motion entertainment company. And what we do is we want to transform physical activity into play. We take that technology and make it available on as many devices as possible. You mentioned motion games typically require hardware, sensors that you need to buy before you can use it. What we do is that by just using the camera on the device, which is available on phones, tablets, PC, Macs, and for device, we have sufficient fast processing power in the CPU or GPU, or in a neural processing unit, that we're basically able to process what's in front of camera, like tracking your body, where your hand is, what are you doing, and be able to transform that and use that information to build games that require your body movement to play. And just like we can in one of our game we call it whack-a-mole, that we present, we show you your selfie mode, you can see yourself, and we present these virtual objects now in front of you, then you can rack them and play. So that's on a high level, what we do and how we create motion games for as many devices as possible. That you don't need to kind of buy a device, probably you already own a device like that, just your phone, tablets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a large number of people, do or own some sort of smart device, whether it's like you mentioned, laptop, a computer, a phone, a tablet. A lot of televisions, they, themselves may be equipped with a camera. So really, that's the only piece of equipment that you need, and it is very different because when you think of something like this, again, the Wii console comes to mind. If you want to take it even higher than that, a lot of those augmented reality, virtual reality cameras, those are insanely expensive and definitely not accessible by just the average, person in society. So having an app, it is an app, right? Or is it some sort of software that you have to download, or what is it? What is it?
So Active Arcade is an app they can download from iOS App Store or Google Play Store. Then once you download the app, then you can start using it. It's just that accessible.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to we have so many apps on all of our devices. So to be able to download something like this and have access to this kind of fun, because it really is fun. A lot of times people think of physical activity and they think, oh, I have to go to the gym. Oh, I have to lift weights. And a lot of times it's just the chore of doing that is enough to deter someone, from wanting to do it. But being able to kind of sit down and, as you showed in videos, just being able to kind of engage in that kind of activity with family and friends, it is a lot of fun. David, tell me, how did you come up with this idea? A lot of founders have an aha moment. What was your aha moment that made you kind of develop NEX?
Yep. So we found NEX in 2017, and we start with building a basketball training app. So I love basketball. I played basketball growing up, and the first thing after I left Apple, I worked for Apple for 8 years, is okay, let me try to do something very different. And we start with with basketball because we just love it. And really quickly, we are be encountering a problem. Oh, how we can basically build an app that help people get better at basketball. So we build an app that track your shots. We track your dribble. We track how you move your body. And what happened is that yes, we have a lot of people who use basketball players and use home court to get better at basketball. We also have a lot of people, even more people, that actually use home court to just having fun, moving their body. We have we call it drills at that time, where you would need to basically move laterally and touching cones left and right. And we said, wow, there's a lot of people doing that. It's not basketball players. And that gave us the aha moment of, wow, actually we can just go straight into making games more physical, creating games that people already really kind of want to play, and make them more physical, so that you don't really just like, sit there and playing games, just look staring at your screen, but you play those games by moving your body. And we basically go deeper and deeper than that, and that's what Active Arcade is all about.
It's great because a lot more children these days, and I say children like I'm not a part of that group. I mean, we're attached to our phones, we're attached to technology, and being able to kind of marry the world of technology and activity in this way, it really is great. David, I'm seeing that you guys are a San Jose and Hong Kong based company. What is it like to bring those two worlds together? Obviously, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Hong Kong, also a very, very high-tech part of the world. Two completely different cultures, though. What is it like kind of bringing those two cultures to put together a product like this?
That's a great question. So I grown up in Hong Kong, and I have my first startup, in Hong Kong as well. So when I relocated to Silicon Valley work for Apple, we still have the team is kind of split in Hong Kong and Silicon Valley for the longest time. So when I like started startup, naturally like we have people in these two cluster, like join the company, and we actually have two co-founders in Hong Kong, two co-founders in Silicon Valley, and it had been a great time, like pulling like people from two different cultures working together. We kind of have a joke that like our company never sleeps, but because it's eventually what it is. Where people basically working 24 hours and able again to kind of have that building that culture of like how we can like work together with these two group of people in two different geographical locations, two different culture coming together and create something that is meaningful worldwide. Is just a very exciting adventure for us.
David, let me ask you a question. Obviously, as a founder, as a tech expert, as someone who's so ingrained in that world, I know you guys always look forward to the future of your product. An active arcade where you can download it onto your phone, onto your laptop, you could do it in the comfort of your own home, is great for those of us who have access to something like a laptop or a cell phone, but not necessarily accessible by everyone in society. Do you see this, potentially a product that people can find in a physical arcade? There you go into an arcade, there is that Dance Dance Revolution game. There's different, shooting games and games like that. Do you see NEX kind of entering the world of an actual location like an arcade, assuming an arcade is even a thing later on down the line? But do you see kind of a collaboration between those two worlds?
I totally see that. In fact, earlier this year, we have a collaboration with Nike, and we basically put an active arcade game in one of the Nike store, so that people can experience motion game in a store. So we have exploring this kind of collaboration already. That is, oh wow, there's a physical location. Let's just go there and move my body. But we also see this like what we're doing is already kind of very accessible. Like you can do that like as long as you have a phone, which like I think everybody do these days, even for like some younger kids, or they have a tablets and they can use it on the tablets. And we have some experiment that how we bring the experience onto like Chromebook or laptops, where like I think many kids have now need to use those to do the schoolwork these days. So I think like, our goal is to make it as accessible as possible. Bring that experience to as many screens as possible, so that like the screen no longer become just like a one-way like entertainment, just like we're watching a movie or watching a show, but something that I can interact with with something that's very naturally just your body. So that is something that I think we really want to kind of create better and better games doing that.
And David, before I let you go, I just have one important question to ask. When you're talking about cameras on phones and laptops and all that, you are looking at an element of cybersecurity. What has NEX done to kind of protect users of the app to avoid having, let's say, their camera hacked and having a hacker kind of watch what's going on, even though it's a game? It's still a security threat. Has NEX put up any safeguards to prevent that?
Yep. Well, first of all, like all our users privacy is very important to us because we know that like using camera is something that like, creates the problems that somebody you talk about. The first of all, like, all user content is private to our users. We don't look at them. We don't let it share to other people, right? So we just access your camera so that like we can let the video being processed on device, and that's very important. We're not sending your video to a server to process it. All video is processed on device so that like when your hand whack a mole, we know immediately your hand touch that and that mole would be whacked. So I think that's very important. Like how our technology works is that we basically process those video on the edge so that we don't really need users' video to be sent to us in order to process it. And by doing that, and that's very important, that is how we protect users' privacy.
All right. Well, David Lee, co-founder and CEO of NEX, just another app that is allowing people to combine their love for technology and also keep physical health in mind. We really appreciate your time. Oh, really quick, it's a download for both Apple, for iOS and Google Play. Is it a free download?
Correct. Yes, it's a free download. Try it now. There's a bunch of really great free games there.
All right, I'm going to have to try it out. I'm going to be like running around the newsroom playing these games. David, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.